Hey, welcome to episode 46. Hello and welcome back. Okay, change of scenery. You may see behind me, it's my new workshop. It's a little bit closer to a main road than the last one, so you'll hear plenty of background noise, cars going past. There's one now, etc. All that kind of good stuff, but shouldn't get in the way of the content of the video. Right, where I left you last time was we were starting to look at the exhaust system, and I had a heroic goal of dispensing with the centre part of the exhaust, getting new headers, and then all that good stuff. So reality has bitten, actually. I've got new headers, I'll show you those in a second, and they're just what I'm after. I've struggled with dispensing with the middle bit and attaching silencers, so I've had to compromise my original plan, which I'll show you now. I also had a bit of an issue with the mounts, because I'd cut them off as part of my frame remod thing way back when, and I'm regretting that now, but I'll show you that again in a second. Right, so let's have a look at where we were at the end of the last video. One sec. Okay, so remember we're going to replace the headers with something without a cross pipe. Don't ask me why I've chosen to do that. I just thought because I could dispense with the centre section and then use an aftermarket end can on the back. What's happening in reality is I've got the new headers, which I'll show you in a second. I'm going to keep the centre section. Several reasons. One, it just allows me to get all the angles right and all that kind of good stuff on the pipe. Secondly, it gives me something for my side stand to go up against when I retract the side stand, because that's built into this centre section, etc. And it gives me a standard sort of finish on the end. My other plan, of course, then is to keep this thing as street legal as possible for the MOT, is put the original cans back on for the MOT, but then work on an aftermarket can. And I've got these things which are a lot shorter and probably a bit noisier than the originals. So that's the plan, is to get that back on the bike. Right, here's where we left it. I'd drawn out the various dimensions on this bit of cardboard. It was just really to check if I was buying anything or making or ordering something that I could get the dimensions right. In the end, I found it very, very difficult to find someone to make this for me, believe it or not, for what is in fact half metre of just bent pipe. Very, very hard to get someone who could do the radiuses and all that good stuff. So in the end, I went to my trusty friend eBay and got a set of these. They actually came in from Germany. In fact, I'm going to show you the those guys. Kickstarter, they're called. And these are a set of Kia M08s, whatever they are, and they are, whilst dimensionally they are different to these originals. I'll run out of hands, one sec. Where the key bits matter, as in where it starts and finishes, on my bit of cardboard, they're spot on. But if I can just show you freestyling a second, they're much further forward. They protrude further forward. But hey ho, I've had them on the bike. They fit like a dream. So these are my headers. So let me go back to the motorcycle, pop these fellas on, and then we'll go for the next bit. Cheers. Okay, remembering these are handed, so the one with the label on is actually the left-hand cylinder. So I will just pop that in for now. As simple as that. Hand tighten, make sure it's fully seated. Let me show you this. So as you can see, it perfectly lines up with where it's supposed to be. There's that there's that centre stand, side stand even, that I was talking about before. I need to find a home for that. So when this is back on, if I just put that on there, there for a second, just so you can see. There's a welded on here for the side stand. So if I do decide to do some more customized exhaust, I'll need to incorporate at least this little bit into it before I go much further. Okay, let me just show you this this bit here. So the side stand, when that comes back up again, it is going to bang against whatever exhaust I've got in place, which is why I've decided to put the this H piece back on again. Let me put the phone down, put it back on, and I'll show you what I mean. Right, so just put this on quickly, so you can see. Well, I'll push it on further, but that, when this is fully on, that stopper will bounce against this this retainer here. Okay, and then that means that this end piece here will actually, just check the light, that's better, will take my exhaust as was, but of course I've cut off the bit that was my exhaust mount. So let me, actually, as I have another bike to show you, here's my next project, boys and girls. Identical bike. So here's how the exhaust fits on the original. You can see that this this blade here, and I've cut that off around there. This comes down here, and there's two bolts under there which hold the muffler on, and those have gone. On mine, as you can see, they're gone. So that's my next task. First task is to create a small bracket for me for my mufflers. Just a piece of L-shaped aluminium, and I've cut that down, drilled some holes in it. Looks like that. How hard can that be? Then I've done, you know me and my cardboard. I've been working on something that's going to kind of hold that to the back of the bike in like a nice aesthetic way. I've mocked this up out of cardboard, and then I've also started the journey into brazing aluminium. But it's hard, and so far this is my practice piece. So far I've not really got it away, if I'm honest with you, so I'm going to go with something a bit simpler in the meantime, whilst I perfect my brazing skills. But should I get better than this, then I will create something like that. I'll show you this goes in the bike. Just change hands. So that would go there to kind of extend my thing that I chopped off. back. But what I'll actually probably do is just get a straight piece and do that for now, because that I can do very quickly with nuts and bolts and aluminium bar, and yeah, and that's going to get me where I need to be. And if you wonder where my inspiration came from for that, it kind of came from that. So yeah, you know, that works for most exhausts. I need to bend this a little bit, but yeah, but that, if I can get this baffle quiet enough, at the moment it sounds like a bloody Spitfire. I had it on the Bonneville actually, and it was it turned heads, let me tell you, when I rode that thing. So yeah, so that's the aftermarket. See, it just fits on. It just fits on. It's ace. So we'll have a look inside this in a minute. So anyway, that's going to allow me. That's set up there. It's going to allow me, because I've now put this on hand tight. That's going to allow me to put the original exhaust on, which will be definitely street legal, and then swap that out quickly to something that maybe borderline. There you go. Right, let's look at that. So if I pop this back on, roughly like so, it goes like a bit like that, then that's kind of all I'm going to do. I'll probably have that centre little bolt in there, centre of that. And what I prepared earlier is a piece of aluminium. It's I think it's 2.5mm thick. That's broadly it, and that will get my exhausts supported. I say it's not to go wrong with those, but if I can master aluminium brazing, then something like that in aluminium, black obviously. I probably should sit in the front of that actually. You get the drift, don't you? Yeah, but don't hold your breath on that, because I am struggling with it, to be fair. Okay, let's have a look at that on the other side as well. Yeah, on this side, of course, I've got the brake rod to manoeuvre around, which actually, when I was playing around with this, because I have spent some time thinking this through, looking at other exhaust options, one of which was, of course, dispensing with this middle bit and moving this whole thing forward. I did have a bit of issue snagging the brake rod, so that works for me. Similar sort of thing. Similar sort of thing. Yeah. Not anyone's way, is it that? Just been drilling this there, which is a bit annoying. So I think I'll use some smallish bolts. But yeah, that's broadly it. Right, I'll just bolt this back on again. I think these are minging. I will get some new M8 bolts for this, and yeah, deserves it a bit, I think. Oh, and I'll clean up the exhaust pipe as well. Right then, let's pop this back on here and we'll get a bit of alignment on it. Oops. Okay, that's roughly where it goes. It'll sit there. It's not bad, is it? I'll paint it black, obviously, so it won't look particularly minging. Okay, let me just drill a hole in my bike. So really, could do without doing this, but needs must. Beautiful. Okay, so just what I've done here. So with this attached to the bike, put a pen through the hole, just drilled, just to kind of get the plane of the where the hole needs to be, and I'll obviously then take the centerpiece, or the center line rather, and that's my new hole. Right, and that's that hole drilled. That's roughly how that's going to go. I'll pick up some black headed bolts for here and tidy this up. That's pretty much it. That's alright, isn't it? That'll do me, that. You're going to hate this, haven't you? It seems a bit thick on this side. Not anymore. This is so what I'm doing now is I want to make sure that this is in the right place. So there's where I want my hole. Yep, right here. So I'm just going to take this bar off here so I can punch it and drill it. Okay, let's get that centered nicely. Okay, so that's drilled. So now I'll just reassemble. Check that angle. There you go. Great. Listen, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's functional. Let's pop this back on for a little fitting. There you go. Actually, what I'm going to do here, can use a little bit of a space at the back there. So I'm actually going to, if you can see that, so it's a 6mm. And what I'll do, I'll just turn that away from it a second. Just going to put a normal hex nut on the back of that. That's my little spacer. Oops, and then that will go over there. Thank you. And then my lock nut goes in the back of there. So once that's got its clamp on here, that'll be fine. Right, happy with that. Although do need to make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing, so I've got a bit of shaping to do on these brackets here, but that'll do me. that'll do me for me brackets. Certainly for getting his MOT anyway. I will continue with my brazing practice, and once I've got some decent ones, I'll swap them out. Now then, I promised I'd show you what was in these things. There's a baffle. It's obviously it's a pretty short. How long is it? 300mm. Hey, it's a 300mm silencer, so it's not going to do a lot of silencing, is it? Anyway, it's got a baffle. I just wanted to have a quick look at it, see how much baffling it was actually doing for me. Don't lose that. He said losing it. Anyway. Wow. So that's the reason. It was a noisy bugger. Not a lot at all of noise reduction, if any. That's also, God, that's terrible. Right, well, I think a new bit of fiberglass to go around that is called for, and they may be a bit quieter next time they run. Yeah, not good. Now, let me find that thing that fell off. Found it. It's a split washer. Yes. Right. Wow. I'll definitely get some wadding and do those better than that. In the meantime, I'll reassemble without any. I'll bin that nonsense. Okay. Right, it's back together again. What I will say actually is these came with these fellas, which I can use, I suppose, to angle it a bit. It's definitely that end goes in there, because that end's is the same size. So might end up using that. Might do. One for next time, eh? Last little bit then. Yes, we're going to tidy this up. So I'm going to cut off that corner, cut off that corner, cut off that corner. Make it a bit prettier. But that you don't need to see, really, do you? Okay, there's the more aesthetically pleasing version. Let's pop that on the back, shall we? Okay, so that's the right hand exhaust on, tightened up, no interference with the brake rod, which is great. Now, one casualty of this setup is number plate bracket. Now, you may have seen in earlier episodes that I actually put a number plate on it, which was here. I bought a bracket. It's this thing, pretty ropey actually. It's quite heavy steel, bolts onto an L-shaped bracket, and that won't go back. Yeah, it won't go back there. So I'm going to have to raise it up a little bit. So I'm thinking something like that. Where it's going to go. Yeah, I think it's something like that. So I'll just put a bracket on there to raise it up somehow. Give that some thought. One for next time, I think. Now, while I've got you, another small job I'm going to do. I'm going to redo these fuel lines. Main reason is I hate these. Don't like the silver clips, so I'm going to replace those with black. Don't like this fuel filter because it bloody leaks, so I've just bought some of those trusty plastic ones which work a treat. And I will also notice that this is actually an upside down. Great. This pipe here should be going through that hole there. So I'm going to take this fuel pipe off, re-clamp it with black clamps and install it properly. Next job. And there you have it. So I've kept the silver clamp at the top, mainly because I only had enough to do it as it is, but that looks much better now with the black clamps in, routed through the right hole, and good old-fashioned fuel filter on, which actually I like this as well because you can see when there's fuel going through. The other ones I couldn't see any fuel in them. So yeah, so there you go. So that's a little 10-minute job. Actually pain in the arse getting those clamps off, but there you go. So a little 10-minute job to correct that fuel supply, mainly cosmetic setup. Right, that might be us done. Okay, that's enough for today. There'll be a third episode of Exhaust where I finish it off cosmetically, cleaning it, painting the bracket, you know, tightening it all up properly, etc. So for now it's just on as a mock-up. That's good. Also pleased that I fixed that fuel setup again, cosmetic, but it was really annoying me. So big jobs to do left before we finish, because we are quite close to finishing this project now. I need to do the charge circuit. That was missed off completely when I burnt the last one out. So I'll go back and do the charge circuit. I need to repair my tail light array, which sadly was damaged in transit when I was bringing it across. And here's a quick picture of the bike in transit as it came across. There you go. Anyway, managed to break the tail light assembly, which is really annoying. So I've got a repair to do on that. And then really it's the little bits, tank badges, handlebar grips, bar end mirrors, all that. So we're getting close to the end, guys, getting close to the end. Hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have, please like, subscribe, tell your friends, comments, questions, all that below. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.